Oh my goodness, that's good. And oh my goodness, I fell into a filing cabinet. Hello everyone, happy August! The reason why I'm so happy that it's August is because it's actually my birthday month and I'm very, very excited for that. The most exciting thing I've had in 5 months, so, you know. Anyway, so today's video is going to be a very personal story that I have been through when I was 13. So if you didn't know this about me before, then today I'm going to tell you about my scoliosis story. So if you don't know what scoliosis is, you can Google it, feel free to Google it, but it's basically, in a short term, basically you have a curve in your spine. So yeah, it either grows like it or it's just a natural thing basically that I happened to have. So I'm going to talk to you about how I discovered I had it, leading up to the operation, like what happened, basically all of the ins and outs sort of thing, without making this video for too long because it might bore some people. So yeah, this is basically just going to be a video about my scoliosis journey, operation, recovery, and all that stuff. So if you're not interested, this video is probably not going to be for you. However, please feel free to watch another one of my videos if you wanted to support me, as that would mean a lot to me. In 2011, when I was in school, my mum noticed that my shoulders weren't even, and she noticed that when I bent down, say like to get my shoes, to put my shoes on for school, oh my goodness, that's good. Oh my God, so there's a window behind you and I've just had a wasp literally head on trying to get in the window, and I thought it was inside at first. It scared the life out of me. But anyway, carrying on with the video. So yeah, she noticed that when I bent down to put my shoes on and stuff like that, she noticed that I had a hump in my back, and obviously she knew that this wasn't normal. So she did tell my dad to have a look, and I'm sorry if you can hear the weather, by the way. The UK, it doesn't really know what it's doing right now. A minute ago it was really, really nice and sunny and everyone was Ibiza in Leicester. But now it's actually thundering and it's still 33 degrees and it's absolutely lashing it down. So I'm not really quite sure what it's doing. So I'm sorry if you hear any of the weather outside. I'm trying my best to concentrate. Anyway, so yeah, my dad obviously said that is not normal. And also my school friend noticed as well. For example, one day we had to go in non-school uniform and I was actually sat on a bench, you know, the benches that have the 2 seating areas like that and then the table sort of thing. And one of my friends was behind me and she actually said, well, she couldn't really have been much of a friend because she actually said,
why is your back so deformed?
In which I was like, what? Because I didn't know. So luckily, when New Year's Eve came around, we actually went to my mum's best friend's house, which you might think, why is that lucky? Because my mum's best friend's husband actually worked in our local hospital, and I don't know the exact job that he did, but he was able to get me in for an x-ray, sort of push the time for me sort of thing. So my mum was like, can you please look at her back, because I just want to know if it's normal, if it's worth going for an x-ray, you know, just basically tell me that I'm not going crazy. And he in fact said, yes, that's not quite right. I'll try and get you booked in. Luckily he did. So in 2012, I was actually diagnosed with idiopathic scoliosis. I don't really know what that means. I should have probably researched it, but basically what happened is my spine just grew not normal, just like the rest of me. And yeah, I basically had a curved spine. It was gradually getting worse. And there are different treatments to scoliosis. If you have an acute version, it would be more like your option to have a brace or something like that. But mine, as it gradually got worse, and I was also still growing up until just before my operation, and yeah, they said you're not going to be able to get away with having a brace. You are actually going to have an operation. So before my operation, like that I had to have an operation was confirmed, I had to do some x-rays, which I was really worried about at the time. But obviously, if you've had, I can smell fart. It must be the fields, because I'm the only person in the flat right now and I've definitely not farted. Oh, it stinks. Oh my God. Oh, right, okay, let's just carry on with the vid. Whew. What is that smell? It's got to be the fields. Oh, it stinks. Anyway, let's carry on. So, yeah. So if you have had an x-ray before, you'll know that it's nothing to worry about. But me being a 12-year-old, it was like, oh my goodness, what? I'm going to get hurt. It's going to like laser me or something like that. Oh my God. Surely that can't just be the weather. It really stinks. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long because people will just click off and I don't want you to do that. I want you to hear my experience. Yeah, so I had x-rays, I had an MRI scan, which is where you like lay down in a tube and it will like slide you and take pictures and stuff, well, x-rays. And I got to listen to the One Direction album, which I was extremely happy with that. I don't know what album it was. Something's definitely not right. It must be the Cowfield or something. Yeah, so I don't know what album it was, but I got to listen to a One Direction album, which I was extremely happy with. I also had to have oh my goodness. See what I mean by the weather's going crazy? It's just lashing it down now. It stopped for about 5 minutes and now it's like crazy. Anyway, so I had to have some blood tests, which my first one was a bit dramatic. I'd never had a blood test before. Really worked myself up about it because I don't like needles or anything. I don't even like blood. I'm one of them people that doesn't like blood, scars, stitches, all of them. Ugh, no, it's disgusting. I don't even like listening to conversations about it. It makes me feel queasy and I hate it. So my first blood test, I had to wait in the waiting room, which I don't think helped me at all. And it felt like I had to wait for about half an hour, which if you're one like me, you know that this is not good at all. And when I got into the room, I had to lay down on this chair. And I remember saying to my mum, and I remember my mum saying to the nurse, like, look, she's a bit nervous. She's never had one before and she feels a bit queasy about it all. And the nurse said to my mum,
just as long as she doesn't be sick, that's fine because I can't cope with sick.
Well, as soon as the blood was being drawn and I decided, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to watch it, which is not a good idea. If you are queasy about that, you'll probably know from common sense. Do not look at it being done because just know it's not a good idea. But I did anyway because I thought I was clever, which I'm not. And when I sat up, when it was all over, I was like, yeah, I feel absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, let's go. I got to the other side of the room, to the door on the way out, and I was like, oh no, I don't feel very well. I thought I need to lay down. Now, normal people, when they're in this situation, they literally lay down as quick as they possible, no matter where they are pretty much, which is what I should have done. However, 13-year-old me, yet again, decided it would be the clever idea to try and get back to the chair on the other side of the room. Oh, God. Yeah, so I lost my hearing went fuzzy, and you know, it's just like mee. That's all you can hear in your ears, just beeping. No, beeping's not the right word. Anyway, ringing, that's it, ringing. So my ears started ringing. I completely lost control of my body. Then my sight went, literally blacked out completely. I fell into a filing cabinet, which my mum and the nurse watched the entire thing. I think I had about 2 or 3 nurses trying to like pick me up and, you know, try and get me to the chair, which luckily I managed to get to the chair. And then the nurse's worst nightmare, I threw up all over myself 4 times.
Oh my goodness.
So my mum had to clear me up. Whilst the nurse, I don't even know what she was doing because I can't remember. I remember what the room looks like, but I don't remember what the nurse looks like. But yeah, so that was crazy. I still panic about having blood tests now, but it's nowhere near as bad. I just tell the nurse I need to lay down. I panic, you know, and it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so I had loads of hospital appointments. I had ECG tests. I had like checkups and stuff like that. And then it was confirmed that I indeed had to have the operation, which I kind of knew anyway. My dad tried to help me and did research, and he said, "Oh no, you won't have to have an operation. You'll just probably have to wear a brace," which I was praying that this was right. I got wound up at school a lot about it. I had a few people say,
"Oh, I hope you do have to have an operation,"
just because they knew that it would upset me, which obviously it did. But then it did come to the day where he said, you need to have an operation, basically. So yeah, so I had to wait. I've got my notes over here, by the way, so if I keep looking over here, that's why. I had to wait about a year from having my x-ray to then having my operation. So I actually had 2 operation dates cancelled because there were no beds I had my operation at the Queen's Medical Centre in Nottingham. So I had 2 cancellation dates. No, I had 2 dates cancelled because there were no beds, which were the 14th of December 2012 and the 11th of January 2013. There were talks that if I did have an operation around that time, obviously in December, that I would have been in hospital for Christmas, which obviously for a girl, like a little girl, it's not ideal. But at that point, I just literally remembered saying, I don't care, just as long as I have the operation. It's probably the only Christmas that I'm going to be in hospital, fingers crossed. So I'll literally do anything just to be able to get it out of the way so I can start on my recovery, you know, yeah. So, but kind of luckily, in a way, they got cancelled, so I had to wait until the 16th of January 2013 when I had the operation. So on the morning of the operation, my mum had to call the hospital at 5:30 in the morning to ask if there were beds available, if I could come down. So we live in Leicester, and obviously, like I said before, the Queen's Medical Centre is in Nottingham. So it's about, I think it was about an hour drive, just under an hour. So obviously we had to drive there in the morning when we got told that there were beds, and they put numbing cream on my hands for, see, when I filmed this last time, I said the catheter, I meant the cannula. Yeah, so I had to have a cannula obviously put in this hand. So they put numbing cream on both of my hands, which was really cute, just in case obviously I couldn't put it in this arm, I had to put it in this arm. And then I also got markings on my back for where they had to like make the incisions. and I also had to wear my hair in plaits, which I can't remember why I had to do that. There was a reason, but I can't remember why, but I had to wear my hair in plaits. And then at 6:45 a.m, I got taken down to where they do like the anaesthetics and all that. And I remember talking about Justin Bieber because I was a massive fan of Justin Bieber at that age. And my mum actually told me when I came out of theatre, she said that apparently one of the nurses asked me, whilst I was obviously drifting off to sleep, whether I would marry Justin Bieber. And apparently my answer was,
marry him? I don't even know him.
So yeah, 13-year-old me had a good old head on her. So I was in theatre for about 9-10 hours, can't remember exactly how long it was, but it says on my board here from 6:45 a.m. till 5:20 p.m. I was like in theatre, and then I got put in the HDU, which is the high dependency unit, and stayed in that unit overnight, which I actually remember when they were wheeling me back to the unit. I actually remember, I don't know whether they got told to talk about this for when I was waking up, so I had a nice memory of waking up or something, but it blimmin' worked. They were on about holidays, and I don't know what I said, but I remember saying something about that I enjoy going on holiday to the beach. I don't know whether my mum would know what I said, but yeah. And I also remember when I got put on the HDU, they called my mum to say that the operation went successful and you can come and see her. And I remember that my mum went down to obviously the ward, the HDU, and I think she had to go in the bed next to me because I'm pretty sure obviously it's a massive shock to the system for if family members have to go through big things like operations and stuff. And she, obviously her body must have taken over and she felt really poorly all of a sudden, and I think she almost passed out, or she did. So she was put in the bed next to me. But yeah, so that happened. So, and then after, obviously I spent overnight in the HDU, the next day I got put into the ward the following afternoon. I was asleep for the first 3 days after my operation, just because of the medication, or as my mum called them, the drugs I was on. So she didn't remember the other drug that I was on, but I was put on morphine, which made me super duper sleepy, and I literally didn't do anything for the first 3 days. Obviously I have a catheter in, so I didn't need to go to the toilet myself. And the doctor said that during my stay at the hospital, I actually lost 3 pounds, which isn't like crazy for a week considering I was in hospital, and I would easily gain it again when I got home. Yeah, so altogether I had to have 12 screws and 2 rods, the rods in which were actually titanium. So the song by, I was going to say Sia, but it's not. The song Titanium, which I will play in the background if I am allowed to, if I'm not going to get copyright. I said this was my song. Yeah. So after them 3 days of having morphine, they had me on a button for the first 3 days. So whenever I felt the pain, they said just press the button and the medication will get released into your system. So I did that. Anytime I had to move and then felt a bit of pain, press the button. Obviously you can only press it so many amount of times, because obviously you can't like overdose yourself. I remember pressing this button and I'm thinking, oh, it's not working. So I press it again, press it again, press it again. And I go,
Mum, why is my button not working?
and she goes,
oh, they've taken you off it because you're sleeping too much, and the reason why is because of the morphine. So they've taken you off it so you can have it orally.
Apparently I flipped. I was like,
Give me back my button now, I need it, I'm in pain.
and obviously they didn't give it me back, but they made sure to keep up to date with the dosage so I could have my medication orally. So obviously I wasn't feeling much pain. I was feeling a little bit of pain, but it was like a normal backache sort of pain, but less than that even. Yeah, so obviously I was in hospital for 7 days altogether. Mr. Sell was actually the orthopaedic consultant that did my operation. I was supposed to have Mr. Grevitt, but then because he was so busy with operations himself, and he said the only available time he could have done it was the times I had my operation cancelled, or it would be in the summer. Mr. Sell actually took me off of him and said, I'll do your operation. So I had him, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, I can't even begin to say how grateful I am that that happened. And then before I was allowed out, before I was discharged, that was the word I was looking for, from the hospital, I had to do 3 different assessments. But one of them was walking. So I had to obviously show that I could walk, you know, because even though when I got taken to like x-rays and stuff like that, I got taken in a wheelchair. They wanted to know that I could walk okay before they let me go, because obviously if I couldn't walk, I mean, you have to relearn to walk because obviously your spine is basically in control of your whole body. But yeah, you had to make sure that you could walk again, because if not, the surgery might have gone a bit wrong without them realising, and you know, complications and all that. But no, I was absolutely fine. It was really weird actually the first time I stood up, because obviously the curve in your spine makes you a bit shorter than what you actually are. So when it's straightened up, you've actually gained height. I think I gained like 1.5 inches, I think it was. And I remember I was standing up in front of my mum, and she was just like, whoa, you have grown. And it was quite funny. You also have to do a stair assessment. So basically, instead of obviously you walk up the stairs, normally it's foot, like step, like normal, but you couldn't do that. You have to take a step at a time, so it'd be like that sort of thing. So you have to walk up the stairs and down the stairs, which I was absolutely fine with it. And then you also have to have a wound check. So I will insert the picture of my wound and what it looked like and the scar and everything. This picture in particular, I didn't know whether to post in my video, just because if I was watching this video myself and saw it, say if I was eating or something, or even just in general, it would make me feel a bit queasy, just because I don't like looking at this sort of thing. However, some people obviously might want to see it. So this is a trigger warning. If you don't want to see it, I'm going to be putting it in the video in 3, 2, 1. So there it is. It's quite long. It goes from the top of my shoulders to about my hip area. And trigger warning, it is now gone. It is gone, don't worry. Yeah, that was just in case. Obviously, I don't want people to feel like poorly or anything watching this video. Yeah, so I had to have a wound check, which it was absolutely fine. And then I could pretty much go home. When I got home, I wasn't allowed a bath, because obviously you're not allowed to get it wet or anything. I think that was for 3 months, I think it was, that I wasn't allowed one. I wasn't allowed to go to school. So I did have tutors come to my house for it was like an hour or so every week, and it was like geography, then maths, then English, that sort of thing. The teachers used to email me and send work home and stuff as well, so it was really helpful. But yeah, so I wasn't allowed to do PE for I think it was 3 months after I came back to school, and then I wasn't allowed to do contact sport for a year after my operation. I wasn't allowed to go on the trampoline or anything like that until I think that was a year after my operation as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. During the whole time, I actually kept a diary I called it the Diary of Pain, just because I wrote everything that my body was doing at the time. So say if I had backache, I would write the date and then backache, and then say if the next day I didn't feel anything, I'd say next day I was okay. During the time when I had to wait to find out if I was going to have an operation, I was really stressed about it because I was worrying that I would have to have an operation and stuff. And when I stress, I do get a headache every day. So I did suffer quite a bit with headaches and obviously with back pain as well. So I did write everything down, and then say at a checkup, if the consultant said, right, tell me about how you've been, I would literally just be like, this happened, this happened, this happened. And I was able to give him the diary. Obviously I didn't write anything personal in there because obviously, you know, you want to keep personal things to yourself. But I wrote pretty much everything in there, like my periods and stuff, because I did have irregular periods and stuff like that, and how it would affect my body and stuff like that. So it's just things like that. And I also made sure to always carry around paracetamol. I remember being in quite a bit of backache, especially once I'd walked to school with, I had like a rucksack, but I only used to use it on, or was it a bag? But I only used to have it on this shoulder, which would affect my backache quite a lot. So I used to carry around paracetamol pretty much religiously, so that I always knew that I had it there to help me. So yeah, I think that is about it. I think that's all I've got to say. If I've missed anything out, then I will make sure to like put it in the description or in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me them in the comments, or message me on my Instagram or something, and I will be more than happy to talk to you about it. But yeah, I think I've covered everything. Oh, I will insert a picture of my scar now. This isn't as bad as the wound, so I am still going to do a trigger warning because people might not like to see scars and stuff. But this, in 3, 2, 1, this is my scar. I think that was a year after my operation. And then this one is my scar now, as I filmed this, I filmed this technically yesterday as you're watching this. So yeah, this is today. And trigger warning, it's gone. So yeah, that is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoy watching this. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it somewhat interesting. Or if you're going through the same sort of thing, then obviously, you know, I hope it helped in a way. But yeah, like I said, feel free to message me on Instagram or comment below any questions or anything. And also comment below what sort of stuff that you want to see on my channel. And yeah, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. And I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.